comes to alcohol and cancer risk, less drinking means less cancer risk.
A new warning from the U.S. Surgeon General about the dangers of alcohol. You saw there Dr. Vivek Murthy calling for an updated warning label on alcoholic beverages, warning that they can increase your risk of cancer.
Digging into the numbers, the U.S. Health Department says there are 20,000 alcohol-related cancer deaths each year, and that's higher than the number of annual deadly drunk driving crashes. That's about 13,500.
All right, so how much alcohol is safe to drink? Denver 7's Colin Riley took that question to a local doctor. Colin also spoke to local liquor stores about why they say this new label could be bad for business.
Now, bottles of alcohol already come with a label warning you against drinking while pregnant or operating a car. And the Surgeon General now wants to make these labels longer, linking alcohol consumption to cancer. But some think that's a step too far.
I think it's a mistake. There are already a couple Surgeon General warnings on the labels, and the cancer risk isn't studied as well.
Josh Robinson's family has run Argonaut Wine and Liquors in Denver for decades, and he's seen his fair share of negative impacts on the industry.
In Colorado, this business is already hurting, and Colorado is one of the biggest microbrewing, microdistilling states in the country. We have a great culture around it, so why put any more stress on a couple industries that are supporting so many local people?
The proposal would be the first change to alcohol warning labels in 35 years, and while alcohol use is common, the Surgeon General says not enough is being done to educate the public. The advisory reads, in part, 72% of U.S. adults reported they consumed one or more drinks per week, but less than half of those adults are aware of the relationship between alcohol consumption and cancer risk. Doctors like Blake Babcock at Advent Health Porter acknowledge the risk. We've always seen those articles seemingly every year. A glass of red wine's good for your heart, it's good for your circulation, whatever, that's okay. But this advisory points to any amount of alcohol can increase your risk of cancer. So which one do we pay attention to?
I do think that you have to be very careful with interpreting those studies with light amount of alcohol drinking. There are studies that will point to both ways, and when you can usually find studies that point to both ways, we just don't really know yet. But I do know that when you drink more, your relative risk goes up in proportion to the amount that you're drinking more.
While few would argue with that, Robinson believes there's a better way forward.
I don't think it would change anything for people who aren't using the product responsibly. So instead of punishing people who are using the product responsibly, let's focus on making sure those who aren't getting it where they don't need to get it.
I'm hoping that it's an impetus for people to just educate themselves on what they consume.
In Denver, Colin Riley, Denver 7.
It's important to note here that Surgeon General's proposal would require congressional approval.